Good morning. Namaste. Privyat. I studied in Russia, so I still remember a little bit of Russian. And I have a great admiration for the Russian people who provided that scholarship to me. I'm so happy that I can be here today sharing my experience, especially with young people, bright, energetic, like you. Thank you for coming to BYU with hope and desire to make a change around the world. I would, in this discussion today, I will draw my personal experience and try to explain how my personal life, conversion in the gospel of Jesus Christ, changed my life, and how being faithful is important part of our professional life. That's where I would be focusing today. I love horses a lot. Beautiful animal, just gorgeous. Look at these two, mother and a little pony. And I look at them and I feel like, especially with this little pony, and I learned that they start running around very, very quick. In a day, they are ready. They go around and find the milk of the mother. And for us, human, it takes some time to learn to be self-reliant. And BYU is playing such a role that to help these young people to become self-reliant through a professional experience. I would like to take you to some of my experiences and draw from my civil engineering practices back home. When I got graduation from Russia, and I was trained in industrial building, specialized in metal construction, metal design, metal structure design. So in my defense, there were a panel of professors, and they asked, "Where are you from?" "I'm from Nepal." "You don't have any metal industry, so why do you want to do metal structures?" Then I said, "Much is coming in the country. I want to learn and be prepared for the opportunity that will come." And they laughed, and that's how I got that degree. So excited. In 1994, April 24, I got baptized. More excited. Then I went back to Nepal. Then I started working. And then things were different. Things were completely different. Okay? If you see this, some of my experiences in Russia, I had to replace tower crane with bamboo ladders, like that. Okay? Concrete batch plant pumps with wheelbarrow and trays, and bulldozers with wheelbarrows, and excavators with pickaxe and shovels. So I thought, wow, my dream to be a change agent in the country, as all young people, when they are graduated, they feel that they can do so much. And when they get to the field, it becomes time of pondering readjusting, recalibrating yourself a little bit, and then that's how the professional life is. That's happened to me as well. Same thing, the construction practice. Okay? Very interesting. And if we look at to this particular casting work that I saw coming home, is interesting. Okay? What is the safety measures for the workers? Okay? But I learned that I have to work with what is available with me. And maybe most of you, either foreign or the American nationals studying here, may have this experience to go around the world and find a way to work with what you have in your hand. That's how engineers are required to work. Okay, the major part of my effort focused on improving lives of workers, the work environment, assuring qualities of construction. Let's see a couple of things. Health and safety, if you go back to my previous slide, there are no personal protection equipment used in that situation. So needed thoughtful adjustment of technology and practices to address that situation. One of the things I did is the project, I make it a teaching school. When I did a project, I sat with workers and explained why you have to do these things as you do under the construction. My experience in Kenya, I went to Kenya to transfer a technology called biogas digesters, transforming bio-waste into methane and piping it to the kitchen so that they can have a clean cooking. They don't have to burn coal and other biomass. So I went there, and they looked at me and said, this guy is going to be around for a couple of weeks, and then he'll go home. And they kind of wanted to keep a distance with me. And I learned that they were among the poorest of the poor, where my heart is all the time. And I felt like, okay, I need to make a friendship with these guys. And I went there in the afternoon. They cooked a food called ugali. Maybe some of you know. It's a corn flour mixed with a hot water and kind of make a thick paste. And they put some tomato sauce on top of it and ate. And I saw that these guys work for 8 to 10 hours on this diet. No. I need to be friends to them. Then I started working with them, and I made a deal with the group. I said, okay, if you feed me ugali, I'll buy chicken for you. They just jumped. Chicken every day. So that deal was a great deal. I enjoyed ugali with them and chicken. In the meantime, I had a wonderful opportunity to teach the technology that I was bringing to Kenya. And I felt like, okay, this is how you make your friendship. Engineers, they are there to look into the possibility of improving the lives of workers as well. We need to love them. Most of the workers come from the poorest of the poor family. They don't have much. They are ignorant about their personal protection and how to institutionalize that on the ground is our responsibility. I always looked for the opportunity to improve their quality of life. At the same time, there is the other component of the people. The structure, the facilities that we build, somebody's going to use it. Those are the users, and they have their need and their requirement. And our role is to understand them, their requirement, and help them find an appropriate solution to their problem. Interestingly, in my career, I find that the cultural component, usually overlooked in designs, has a major impact. And when you do projects here or abroad, it is important that we understand the culture of maintenance, culture of operation, and then we find solution to their problems. Okay, this is my next quote, is ultimately everything is about people. Okay, our engineering skills or management skills or any other skills that we learn is for the people. Okay, one other aspect that is very challenging in maybe 2/3 of the world in construction practices is how to assure quality. In that environment, to assuring quality needs a lot of effort. So how to focus on design and specifications. Procurement processes are not transparent in many ways, so creates confusion and problems during the implementation. How to make procurement processes transparent. And material testing. That concept is rarely available around the world, unfortunately. And they use what they have, and testing and approving by some authority, or having a test lab set up and regulation set up is other challenge. Industry standards. Okay, when you produce construction materials, unless they have industry standards, they will produce anything. Okay, and there is no quality assurance in that. Okay, workmanship is always a challenge. Already I mentioned that poorest of the poor, who are not usually fit for other white-collar jobs, they come to the construction site with shovels and pickaxe. How do you train them to make sure that the standard of design that you prepare, you can bring it to the ground? And compliance. Just an example. I was building a school out in the mountain in Nepal, and talked to the people and wanted to go to the quarry site for sand. And this was the practice. And I felt that, okay, what is the washing? What is the percentage of silica there? What is the percentage of mud, soil mixed? How do you ensure the quality of concrete when you use sand from this kind of quarry? So, had to come up with a creative solutions, at least to make sure that this sand is washed and used to get the appropriate strength of the concrete. One other thing, it's like the quality of the bricks, okay? The majority of the population that lives in that part of the world, India, Nepal, Bangladesh, Pakistan, and most part of Africa, practice this kind of brick production. And there is no testing again. So how do you ensure quality in that environment? Remember that quality assurance is the engineer's responsibility, and assuring quality requires a multi-sectoral effort. It's not about just, okay, you have a brick, go and test it in a lab, and then give me a test report. That kind of approach won't work, okay? We need to come up with different solutions. Okay, I want to walk you through a little bit about the national codes and standards. Okay. Many countries, they do not have national code, building code. Those who have the codes, it is not enforced. Okay? Even in this part of the world, I had an experience to build a private house in California, and I left for a lunch, and some workers were just hitting a cable because they drill a smaller hole. So the cable was not going through. So what they did is, with the hammer at the end, they were hitting the cable. And obviously, the Ardmore cable, the cover will be chipped out while you force the cable through the concrete hole. So it will have later on will have consequences, okay? So this kind of effort to be there, to be with them and understand their way of thinking and teach them how to do things is very important. In case of Nepal, there is a national building code approved about 30 years back. But only one third of the country practices it. Rest of the country builds spontaneously. What happens as a result of 2015 earthquake? It was not that big size of an earthquake, though it is 7.8 magnitude, but other components were not that devastating. What happened? 700,000 homes were destroyed, especially on the rural areas, because the code was not implemented, enforced. At the same time, we started revising the code and found out that it's inadequate. There are holes that need to be fixed, sealed. Okay. It is my privilege that some of the civil engineering students been part of that process. I'm sure they are not professional engineers at this point of time, but it is a great exposure for them to see how the codes are made. Okay, and I've been able to engage some of the civil engineering capstone projects, and be able to extend this opportunity to them. I think it will help them a lot. At this point of time, how to get NBC to IBC standard, that's what we are working on. From my current job, one of my opportunity is to work on that and make sure that these codes are upgraded to meet the earthquake standards. But there is a resistance, even from the from those who understand the severity of not following the code. Their argument is, our economy is struggling. We cannot afford to have stringent measures that increase the cost of the infrastructure. Okay. And I tell them, it's a life safety. It's a functionality issue. When there are major disasters, how to make those structures serving you at that time. That's very important that we look into those, and not only too concerned about finances. Okay, my next suggestion is, when you get your hands dirty, think about the bigger pictures, bigger issues. Okay? I want to walk you through a disaster management cycle. Okay? There is a star here that the event takes place, and before that there are steps to be taken into so that disaster could be managed properly, timely, economically, and we can save property, lives, and other damages. However, in case of my country, in 1982, there was a Natural Calamity Act passed, and in 1999, the local bodies were given responsibility to take care of their people during the disaster. But it was a paperwork. Okay, if there is a problem, go and take care of them. Okay, but no resources, no training for them. And then the Victim Relief Act of 2007, how do you, what would be the relief response? Okay. If you exclude the last bullet, all of them were focusing on the first component of the disaster management cycle, response, immediate response. There was no sense of the entire management of disaster. So in 2017, it sounds to me a little simple for me, that only in 2017 we have an act that covers all the component of the disaster management cycle. However, at this point of time, it is on the paper. The act is there, but the structure, different level, the people, the facilities are not available. And my privilege has been that I'm working on a project that will support the making the act to taking the act to the implementation level. I'm hoping that that project will be approved soon, and when the national government will start formalizing for the National Disaster Management Authority, and they will appoint their people, we can be a help to them to put that structure in place. Maybe find some opportunity with FEMA here to have some exchanges for them to come and learn, or people from here to go and teach them. And that's where what I'm working on at this point of time. This is a new structure that the government has come up with. Okay. Again, they put quite a bit responsibility on disaster preparedness and response committees that are designed to be in the village or the municipality level. So those people have no clue how to actually support during the disasters. So we have a lot to do, and I'm hoping that our effort will help them to get to working on that. Okay, I especially chose this map with the Nepalese script so that you have some sense of how we write. Okay. Somebody asked me, you write and you always cross on the top. Why do you do that? Okay. So this is how we write, and this is a separation of words. So according to the new federal structure, Nepal used to be a kingdom, and the kingdom was abolished. Then we went to the the federal structure. Then we divided country in 7 different states. Okay. This picture is, or this slide, I would like to take it back to where I mentioned earlier that taking Disaster Management Act to reality has to do with the new structure of the country. So that will pose another challenge for us to work with a new situation. Okay, everybody learned that Nepal was struck by 7.8 Richter scale earthquake in 2015, and many of you may have a desire to know what's going on, how the reconstruction is happening, and all that. And unfortunately, I don't have very encouraging news for you, but I have some learning from there. Okay, I would like to take you through this chart. Okay, I think it's very self-explanatory, but at the same time, if you see, the government has come up with the tranche system of supporting those who lost their houses. Third tranche is upon the completion. So you can see, after the 3rd year of the earthquake, out of 767,000 houses, we have completed only 54. Okay? And you can imagine why this delay is there. Okay? I want to give you some other perspective as well, why this delay is. This is a typical house they build usually with pride in the rural areas where they get that damage. If you see this was engineered by people like me with the local material, still be able to make it earthquake resilient. I had an opportunity to go one of the classes the other day and yesterday and talk about it and talk in detail why these bands are introduced and why I'm confident about the new house that would survive in larger scale earthquakes. And at the same time, the terrain poses other challenges. So how do you build in this situation? There is no easy transportation system to each of these locations. And obviously the soil testing is not there. I mean, so many things. If you just think from the classroom perspective, you get scared to work in that environment. But we have to come up with solutions. That's the reason we are engineers. Yes? Great. Okay. This is a beautiful facility under construction. Okay. This is a 15-bed hospital I'm doing in a rural area. And This is going to be a beautiful facility. Okay, let me show you where it is being built. Go to this Google map. Okay, the slope of the land at the riverbed. Okay, getting into the site is a narrow alley. The truck doesn't go. Okay, the implementation challenges are there. The building looks nice in a picture, in a drawing, and everybody gets excited. Oh, this kind of hospital is going to be there. But once you get to the site to actually do it, there are a lot of factors to consider to make it work. Okay, another insight that I want to present to you is, okay, we are here to construct, build, design as engineers. But there are other areas that seriously impact our work, okay? Like this one, constraint to growth. I'm talking about the national economy. What are the problems there? I would like to take you to this graph chart. If you observe this closely, service sector is the major contributor to our economy. Where is that money coming from? Mostly from remittances. Our youth go to Middle East or other countries to work, and they send money back home. Something like most of the Mexican people do coming to your beautiful country. So is that sustainable? I had a talk with my friend who is a macroeconomist in the country and asked, explain me this, okay? And this is what his further explanation is. I told him, like, can we not buy material from Philippines, Indonesia? They may have better materials there. And he said, oh, look at this graph. Our deficit is already over our revenue. How can we afford to do this? Okay, there are many other factors that constrain our work. And then he gave a very nice explanation of how this remittance-based economy is ultimately detrimental to the overall growth of the country. And I like this circle a lot. Okay, it explains if we depend on remittance-based structure, ultimately there is no growth. There is a circle of poverty going around. So it's in a national context. How to bring it to the project level and work with it is a challenge. Nepal aims to reach middle income country by 2030. What does that mean? Even in that area, like our average income, GDP is pretty low, around $760 per person per year. And then to come to the middle level, this is where we need to go. Okay, there time, lot of effort, and as you know, when you want to have a boom in your economy, usually infrastructure is taken as one of the sector where you want to put money so that it creates jobs, infrastructure, and other sector can flourish as well. Okay, I painted a pretty dark picture in your mind, but I also want to tell you that there are efforts being done, and there is a hope. There is a light at the end of the tunnel, and I'm excited to be part of that effort. And these are the efforts that been taken place. Okay, my next reminder to all of our engineers are be vigilant, seek for opportunities to contribute, and establish yourself as a leader in your profession. Okay, not understanding other sector and just understanding core engineering limits our possibility to become leaders in the sector. Okay, I want to go back to my slide where my beautiful animal and the animal that I like the most. Okay, this is for my young friend participating today here, that we would need 20 years, 25 years to be able to run with our mothers. We are not like pony, next day we can run. Same thing happens in our profession. We grow gradually, struggling with the situation. And once we take challenges, we will grow. Okay, these are some of my observations, and I would like to reiterate that, okay, this is not the only prescribed career path for every engineer. I'm not telling that you have to go around and do this, every one of you, okay? But it is one of the career paths that we may choose to go, okay? My next is be happy where you are. Just do your best what you can. Okay, personal growth comes from taking challenges. Okay, it will take time. It is different than a colt starting to run with his or her mother. We need time. Okay, let me give you a new and encouraging picture of what is possible and what we are doing here. This school was originally built by some French architects in 1947. And during the earthquake, obviously it was done poorly at that time, and during the earthquake it completely got destroyed. And we are rebuilding this to make it an example for the rest of the schools to follow that example. And I would like you to go through this. Many of the schools do not have facilities like computer labs, science labs, and they have simpler classroom, dark, okay? This is gonna be a change in their lives. And I'm excited and happily waiting for the day for this to be completed. It will have disability access. I mean, so many components that the rest of the world enjoys and kids enjoy in their school. But we are building this in a unique land. There is a pond in front of it, and it is at the heart of Kathmandu. And that pond is considered an auspicious pond by the locals. So we have to take into account that. I thought I would bring the dirt and fill it up, okay? But they said, no, we have to have it. So that poses more challenges for structural designers because the water level is high and there is a chance of liquefaction. So we have to come up with affordable structural design of the foundation. So it's an interesting project. And I hope some of you, when you are in that part of the world after 2 years, I'll be able to take you there, a completed functional facility. And I'm excited for that opportunity. We put so much effort to make it, to design it at this stage that people have that perspective, people understand, and willing to take it as an example for those who are going to do other facilities. Okay, at the same time, I want to take an opportunity to go to the gospel before I close. Okay? I have heroes in gospel. Okay? One of my heroes is Joseph from the Old Testament. Joseph was raised as a simple person. He was a sheep herder. And what happened? He became next to Pharaoh and ruled that country. Okay? And if you remember, it is something like, okay, Bishnu, come and help President Trump to rule United States. Okay? Okay? No. See? The reason he been able to do that is this. The Lord was with Joseph. If you go to Old Testament, this is repeated multiple times. He was successful because the Lord was with him. And what I would like to conclude today is, if we are in tune of the Spirit and follow the Lord to guide us, we'll have opportunities in life and we'll do great things. And BYU will provide you that foundation. And I'm so happy for each one of you that you have this opportunity in your life. And I'm grateful that I have given this opportunity to come and talk to you. Thank you. Namaste.